Hello, I'm live. It says I'm live. I'll take YouTube's word for it. Hello, everyone. This is what I was talking a couple of days ago about what I wanted to call my first ever Saturday morning live. So welcome. I made it to morning by barely. I wish I had my coffee with me, but I've finished it. So what I wanted to dive into in this first ever Saturday morning live is I have lost my note sheet. Where the heck did it go? So in the first YouTube live that I did, a question came in, and I'm going to read you the question, and then we're going to answer. This question or talk about it a little bit, and then I'll answer any questions from you guys that come in as well. So the question came from a European actress. Her name is Andrea, and she was 13 years old. And I'm going to read you the letter that she wrote to me in an email. She says, I'm currently 2 years away from high school. I'm in an art school playing the piano. I have the option to graduate in theater in the classes starting from high school. My parents are making me go to piano competitions even after I've told them that I don't want to. My piano teacher told me she won't support me, and I think she means in the theater as well, and that I won't make it on stage ever. For me, the competitions are meaningless. It's just an incredible amount of pressure put on me to be perfect. And when I'm done, all I get is a paper with my name and score on it. Sure, it's an occasion to be on stage, and that's great. You never know who's there to watch you and who you're performing for, but it's mentally exhausting to know that if you don't do the piece well enough, first of all, you'll get a lower score, which isn't good for the professor's resume. And second of all, your parents will be profoundly disappointed. I've told my mother about theater. She told me it's just a phase and basically that I'll never make it. My father doesn't know anything about this. I've asked my mother if I can take theater as an extracurricular next year, and she told me, yes, now leave me alone. So I'll use that. I found a particular private school that has theater classes and very professional teachers, but the information on their site is lacking. So I will send an email to the school asking for more information. Now I want to introduce my best friend. She's amazing and she supports me. She bought me books with stories, and I think here she means monologues, from which I will choose one to work on and present for my high school audition. I hope my parents will understand and support me by that time. And her family likes me and is very open-minded. And she talks a little bit about the email she's going to send. And then she says, okay, now I'm prepared to work. I've worked all my life and that won't be that hard. I'm prepared to work double the amount. I'm prepared to work triple the amount. I'm prepared to sacrifice. I'm prepared to pay my extracurricular. I'm prepared to go everywhere I must go. As a side note, I know this sounds pretty self-contradictory, but my parents aren't bad. They just want me to have an easy life. And if that means doing something I hate for the rest of my life, then that's exactly what they want for me. I want to end this by saying that on the paper, it's great. On the paper, I have a plan so crazy that it might actually work. But in reality, it's tearing me down mentally. I'm not afraid to work. I'm afraid to work mostly alone without my family's support. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this matter. Okay. Wow. This is such a big topic, and it's one that you are so not alone in this. I can't tell you how many times this has come up, not even just for young actors, but for adult actors who are still looking for the support of their family. So I just want to say, first of all, I really hear what you're saying, and I understand that this must be a really challenging thing to be sitting in the middle of right now, and so I really want to acknowledge you for that. I think a lot of people are going to relate to this. I'm really glad you asked this question, Andrea. I can't tell anyone what to do, right? But if we were working one-on-one, you were sitting in front of me right now, I think I would ask you and so for anybody who relates to this, to ask yourself this question: what do you stand to lose by not going after your dream of pursuing this as a career or pursuing this in school or whatever it is? What do you stand to lose? And you might have to get really quiet with yourself for a second and ask yourself that. And I have a feeling you're going to get a really clear answer. So that's really the first step. Parents, if you're watching, you can hate me for this. That's fine. But for you need to ask, what is the price? And they may not end up supporting you, but they might come around. They really, really might. And there are other people. And if you're one of these, if you're an actor whose parents did come around, and even if you're not watching this live, if you watch this later on the channel, you can write in the comments below maybe stories about when your parents did come around. I know I've had students who this has happened for, especially when they start having really successful careers. Their parents are like, oh, yeah, I didn't really realize you could do this for a living. I also want to make sure I don't forget, I made a note to myself here. The comment that you made about your parents, of course, about them not being bad. I don't think for a second that your parents are bad. In fact, I do think that they support you. I just think that they don't get it, and I think, they love you. They want what's best for you. They want to protect you. So I'm really glad you can see that and that you can have a little compassion for them around that. But I think that there are things in life that are always going to be out of our control. And one of those things is what other people are going to do or think or say. And the more we push against that, the more we are setting ourselves up to crash and to be really stressed out and have a lot of anxiety. We cannot make other people behave in any way. So if you can expect them not to get it. Really expect that every day. They're not going to get it, and it is not their job to get it. There's a story that a friend of mine told me about a client that she had whose mom came to town, and she's an actress. She's pursuing it professionally, and her mom came to town, and they were driving past one of the big studios, and her mom said, "Honey, there's Sony. You should go in and give them your resume and tell them you want to be an actress." Right? And her mom thought, and she was like, "Oh my God, Mom, that's not how it works." And she was so frustrated. And as soon as she was able to realize, like, it's not my parents' job to understand it. It's not their job to get it. Now, I know you're 13 and you've got some years at home, Andrea, for a while. There may be some hoops that you jump through for a while. And this is something I talk to my students who are preparing for college auditions a lot about, where there are going to be like academic, if you want to get into some of the top schools, if you want to go to Emerson, if you want to go to Northwestern, there are academic hoops that you have to jump through. Even if you're not passionate about math, you're going to have to do well in math. And if you can see it as a means to an end, and I don't know how the piano thing is going to shake out. I don't know what would happen if you really spoke from your heart about this to your family. And maybe it's really early for you on this. So they haven't gotten to see you, I'm assuming, perform in this way yet. So things may evolve, right? So if you can, leave some space for that and think about, like, okay, maybe there are some things, maybe you really don't like piano. I don't know if there's a way around that. But for now, thinking of it as a means to an end. And yes, it's really great that you're talking about how hard you're willing to work, because that is what it takes. And I hate the term hard work, because I do think when you love it, it doesn't feel like that. But it is hours and hours and hours and hours of committed, of showing up. And in the meantime, there is so much that you can be doing on your own. There are so many playwrights that you can read. In fact, I think I wrote down, if you go to my website, if you go to teenactorslab.com/acting-challenge, or you can just search acting challenge in the blog search. I have a whole list of playwrights that you can start reading. One of the best things you could start doing right now is reading great plays. I always tell my students, you can only ever be as good as the material that you work on. So you need to read. I hate saying you need to, but it will record, at some point you're going to want to be working on these really good playwrights. Work on Eugene O'Neill, work on Neil Simon, work on Arthur Miller, Sam Shepard. And again, I've listed a whole bunch of playwrights, places to start on teenactorslab.com. Regarding, again, same thing with the piano teacher who said, you won't make it ever. I do think actually that I think this whole scenario for you, Andrea, is actually going to end up being your gold and could be one of the greatest gifts to you ever. And I really, really believe that, because some of the people, in fact, you see this a lot in the culinary world and people who are becoming chefs. There's a lot of, especially like female chefs, because there's not a lot of them, of people like, you'll never do this. You can't cook that kind of food. You can't do this. Same thing with acting. You'll hear so many stories about people who made it really big, about everybody saying, no, 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 you can't do that. We don't want you. You're not right for this. You're not right for that. And I will tell you, having that extra push of you really, of really wanting to show them, I can do this, it may end up being one of the greatest gifts to you ever, of all these people around you saying no and you saying, yes, I can. Just watch me. And again, same thing for your piano teacher. Don't expect her to get it, And all you can do with the piano, and I'm sorry, I really feel that you don't love doing this. And maybe there's something some space you can create around the piano itself too. What if you were playing a part, right? What if you wrote a story about somebody in a position like you, and you could look at it as character research, as development, and you actually wrote a short film that you can submit to film festivals about this person in this situation and doing these piano competitions. And maybe she doesn't want to be an actress. Maybe she wants to do something else. I don't know. But all of this stuff really could end up being your gold. I've been not looking at the YouTube window, so I have no idea if comments are coming in. Is it okay if the agency is asking for $1,500 plus for classes, but don't charge for anything else? We can come back to that question. My family doesn't believe in me. They don't believe that I can do anything and whatever I'm passionate about. They make it silly and they laugh and joke and tell me that I can do anything else. Yeah, I think that question, goes right into what I'm talking about. I really believe that it is not their job to get it. It's just not. And you will set yourself up for a big disappointment if you are expecting them to, and if you're letting them tear you down about it, right? If you need the world outside of you to be different for you to be happy, man, is that a recipe for some hard feelings throughout your life. I 100% believe that. So I hope that that's helpful. I'm sure I'm going to go back and look at my notes here and see if there was anything else that I wanted to say. Also, Andrea, another big piece that I wanted to mention is that I really want to also give you like a big virtual high five for finding and seeking out support for finding that support somewhere. And it sounds like you've found that in your friend and her mom. And I really think you only need a couple of allies, a couple of people that are in your corner that are rooting for you. And it sounds like they are. And I think that's great, So this also immediately reminded me of a story. I had just been listening to Oprah's Super Soul Sunday podcasts, which there's so many great ones, and I go down these rabbit holes with them. But she was talking about a woman one of the women that she supports in Africa, writing to her about a situation that she was in with her family, and how her family was really putting a lot of pressure on her to become a lawyer or some sort of high paid job so that she could, support her family. And she has this huge passion for wanting to be a teacher, and was feeling really torn. Like, do I have this responsibility to them? And I can't remember exactly what Oprah said, but it was essentially that, like, what's the price you're going to pay for giving up on your dream? So I hope that's helpful. And I hope all of you can start to think about not making it their job to get it, and not becoming the victim of your situation, because it's no fun to be the victim. And ultimately it's not going to get you what you want. It'll get you stuck. So maybe you can find a way to make these things kind of fire you up even more. If you're watching this not live and you want to post your questions in the video below, that's awesome. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and make sure you don't miss any of the good stuff. And also, if we're not hooked up over on Instagram, I'm at Instagram /Teen Actors Lab. That's today's question. There's been a lot of other really good questions coming in, so I'm excited. To keep answering some of those on here. So thanks for being here, you guys. Tally ho.